The first tap of a conductor's wand.
No mechanism exists to make payments over a communications channel without a trusted party. What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party.
Satoshi Nakamoto. Sorry about that. I seriously
Bring Amanda back.
Yeah. Well, I clicked the Rivet ad. It didn't play. Then I clicked
okay.
the Dragon Chain ad. It didn't play. I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's just the streaming software. Something.
It might be. It might be.
Fuji. So, how's everybody doing today?
Very good.
Excellent. So, welcome. This is World Blockchain Roundtable, episode 142. The topic today is government manipulation of the cryptocurrency market. Hosts for today are Lisa from the Mighty Lair, Greg from Rivet. We do expect to have our own Satoshi Sean on soon, though we do not know. Maybe if we ping him again, if you guys ping him, maybe he has better alerts set up for you. I'm just joking either way. Hopefully he joins. He'll just pop in. If you guys see him down below, let me know just in case I missed the beep or something. Let's see here. We have Sinfully Cerebral online, which is awesome. I've not seen him for a bit. That's good. Quick update from last week. The show aired, and let's see here. The total. Okay, so every host from last week will receive 333 lot. Every topic contributor will receive 166 lot. The theme last week was nominated by I Am for I Am, who will receive 166 lot. These ownership tokens come with perpetual passive income, free edits, and most importantly, governance votes. This week, the topic, again, government manipulation of the cryptocurrency market or markets, nominated by I Am for I Am, batting 1,000. So you want to go straight to questions?
Yes.
Do it.
Yes, I'm excited about
this.
this.
To refresh, you guys can give us any updates while it is refreshing. And first question from Dayrox. I proposed this topic shortly after there was a hack. Wait a minute. Maybe Dayrox proposed this topic. We need to verify this. Did he propose this topic, or did I Am for I Am? Maybe my updates weren't updated. We'll double check this. Sorry about that, Dayrox. And I Am for I Am. Not batting 1,000 anymore. I proposed this topic shortly after there was a hack of the SEC phone releasing the news a day early that the Bitcoin ETFs had been approved. The price went up. As it turned out to be a hack, the price dropped. After the official announcement that the ETF was approved, the price went up again. Is there an investigation?
Good question.
Investigation. I'll get through all the questions first. Has anyone checked who from the SEC took a favorable position? Maybe someone from their families. Imagine that. I don't see information about this anywhere. In my opinion, there should be a very thorough investigation. You would think it's a multi-billion-dollar thing. The only thing that they're supposed to be doing, and they foul it up so much, and then claim that the crypto people are all of the scammers and such.
It's used for very dark things. Yes.
I have trouble even putting into words what I think about this whole thing. But so, Greg, let's just go down the line. Start. What are your thoughts?
When I saw what the price did after that hack, I put a decent sized position in. So I don't know if someone who was keenly aware of the hack did so, and but I wouldn't doubt if they did. If in fact this was accomplished because of the SEC engaging in a little bit of market manipulation, I wouldn't be surprised, because the hack, if it was just a hack like the scare quote version, then it would be the perfect way to test to see if there was price movement associated with the announcement. So
What do you
I
think?
wouldn't put it past them, I guess.
Yeah.
Did that happen before or after or at the same time that announcement of the 130 million Bitcoin from Mt. Gox was being sold? Didn't that happen about the same time?
Roughly, yeah. And the other thing that happened was the Grayscale group that was holding, wasn't it Grayscale that was holding a whole bunch for the FTX trust?
Mm-hmm.
They started dumping almost right away. So after the actual approval.
I'm sure it's all just a coincidence.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, to step back and you look at this, this is the type of shit that happens on Wall Street, right? All the time with everything. There always are insider things. Yet it's illegal. Yet the people that are connected don't have to deal with the consequences of those illegal activities, insider trading and all the rest of it. And there are a lot of interesting things about how that, what insider trading is, and whether it should be illegal and everything else. I don't have anything in that world. I don't do any of that stuff at all. So it's interesting to me, because this is what happens when you glom onto that BS as, okay, we're a crypto, we have real purposes to build things, and yet we've all been pushed into this narrative that it's like, oh, we have to get what do they usually say? Gosh, what is it? It's some type of it's essentially getting the financial services industry to adopt this and to get people to invest in this, like people do the 401k program, which pumped up Wall Street perpetually, right? Because it's the only way to get out of paying those high taxes. Like, well, you have to put everything in the 401k. It's a stupid game that is fake. It's a fake, false market that wouldn't exist, except that you, on the one hand, have the taxes, which are overbearing, obviously, and on the other hand, you have a system set up solely to boost Wall Street and all of the indexes, and it's really kind of horrible. It's a symptom of slavery. It's all the normal stuff that you might think, but I would find it highly unlikely that there wasn't at least someone at the SEC that benefited from this, right? Whether or not they caused it, whether or not they maybe let's not put two-factor on that phone that we use for this purpose. Who in God's name wouldn't do that?
Well, they removed two-factor just a few months before this happened, actually, as I read. Like they had the two-factor authentication on, they turned it off.
Yeah, so somebody did it on purpose. Why did they do it on purpose? For this. You could look back, by the way, 2014, 2015, 2016, that era, multiple times as an example. The Bank of England announced in some capacity, we're going to adopt crypto. We're going to do something with Bitcoin. And then like a month later, it gone, no, we're not doing that. We never do that. And it was just this back and forth, and it happened multiple times. And it was really interesting to me because it looks pretty freaking obvious that that's what it was. Okay, we buy some, we pump it. Okay, now we want to buy some more, so we're going to get people to dump it. Or maybe they do the shorts. I don't know. But either way, I'm not advanced in that area, and I don't really care enough about it. But it's obvious there's a ton of, and this is a perfect subject for today's topic, but that it is,
and they might even have a hearing about it or something. Yeah. But probably nobody will be held accountable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They don't seem all that interested in figuring out exactly what happened there, do they?
No. And this is, by the way, I'm trying to remember. it might be, I would have to do some research. I don't have time for it, but there was a point in time around 2017, 2018, where there was one exchange or project that was pushed by the regulators and their lawyers to do something that was inadvisable for engineering, and it was a very security related thing. But essentially, they wanted them to not have multi-sig or have something on there, and they were later hacked, and it was because of this, and yet then they point them, see, everybody over there are crooks, right? And it's bizarre because the people on the if you're going to have a regulatory group with a technology like this, they should have some reasonable understanding of the best practices, and if anything, it's a way to differentiate which actors are good and which are bad. You can tell who are trying to not let their customers be screwed over, or not trying to let their customers, cheat the law or something. You could look at ones like that. But what did they do instead? No, they just asked Mr. Elbows Lubin to basically point with his elbow, maybe which projects they should go after. That was their apparently their due diligence. What does Joe say? It's trash. Anyway, screw them all. They're all demons. They are evil. It's about as much as I can say about it. Next question. You guys good?
Yeah.
Day rocks again. I suggest a free round in which each host can say what they think. But you want to pop? We'll wait for Sean to show up.
Yeah,
and then we'll bring
yeah.
this question. So we'll skip this one for now. You get counted, but you already are counted, so you're credited. Okay, then help me pronounce this. Revanchist? How would you pronounce that?
Greg gets
Revanchist
that one.
or revanchist?
Let's go with revanchist. I kind of like that. All right.
Okay.
So, what happens when the feds seize Bitcoin? Some Silk Road Xanax hawkers have been recently caught by the spooks, as well as the guys behind Movie 2K. I'm not up on this. This is interesting. They've seized around 62,000 Bitcoin. Do you expect this kind of thing to happen more often in the future? And if so, what happens to the value of Bitcoin? Will the Fed sell it? Will they hold it? Will they destroy it? And if the value of Bitcoin is based on supply, how would that affect the efficacy of Bitcoin in the future?
Well,
they've definitely. Go ahead, Lisa.
I'm sorry. We've just seen what they do with it. They hold it, and then they manipulate the market with it. They dump it when they want to. They sell it when they want to. They make fake announcements to hype the market, and then they sell it to benefit themselves. So, yeah.
Man.
I mean, I think we see what they do with it.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. They are definitely dumping that as soon as, and I think what they do, honestly, is they hold on to it until they have a chance to drive it down when there is a potential upswing. Because what I see is their advantage in doing this is if they are really fighting against the sort of the headwinds facing the entire banking system right now, right? The fact that that the bond trade is essentially backstopped by the Fed, because they have this banking facility that's designed to save banks from liquidity crises. Because right now, as it stands, if a bank has a run, they're going to have to sell collateral in order to make their liquidity needs happen. If they do that, though, with primarily long-term bonds as their primary resource, their primary collateral that they can sell, that is going to push the bank to the edge of insolvency, right? Because they're going to have to realize losses on the assets they hold on their books. Because right now the mark to market is huge, right? The spread between what a bond is worth on, or what a long-term bond is worth on, liquid free markets.
Right, they're taking a loss on their
taking a major loss.
bonds. Yeah,
and that's ostensibly what drove Silicon Valley Bank into receivership. Allegedly, also what drove Signature Bank into receivership, even though I think there's some gray area around whether or not that was actually what happened with Signature Bank.
Mhm.
I think that that what they're mostly worried about right now is a crypto price increase that becomes a self-sustaining cycle that causes the banking system to be drained of liquidity. If that happens, and we have a situation where all of those bonds have to be sold at market rates, sold at the discounted price because they're not mature, then they have to push the price of crypto back down, right? They have to have some mechanism by which to do that. They have all of this that confiscated. Dumping that can keep the price under control and can in this case keep the banking system secure. I think that is why they hold it. And I think when that system is at risk, is when they're going to dump it. So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
exactly what's going on.
That is interesting. Yeah, and if they were, if they were smart, they would be holding it. Why not keep it in reserves? Or I don't know what's legal. I guess if it's confiscated, maybe they.
It's the only way they can move things in a way that prevents the banking system from collapse. So if they're really worried about keeping the central banking system intact, then they're going to dump crypto when they see a price spike happening.
Right. Gosh, I would expect it to continue happening, I guess, as they have. If anybody knows Silk Road case and how they went after the people there. I mean, some of them they let go, or at least gave them really light sentences, compared to Ross Ulbricht, who they gave life sentences. Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Some crazy number. So
right, just because he made a game of whack-a-mole, they can't win.
Yeah, and it's everything is for a message. It's not about the law. It's not about close adherence to the law or even the spirit of the law. It is we have to send a message to these people so they're scared to do this thing that
to operate outside of our system. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, because he ran a website, and he wasn't even Dread Pirate Roberts was the name. He wasn't probably even the first one, and he was not intended to be the last one. That's what that means, Dread Pirate Roberts. So, anyway, anybody who doesn't know go watch Princess Bride, and it's a good story. Anyway, so. I don't know. I think it's all silly and ridiculous. And at some point, when the Fed collapses, or the dollar collapses, however you describe that, they won't have the funding to do that anymore. So at that point, it'll stop. And at that point, people will probably have the sense to not price their Bitcoins in dollars anymore, which is the stupidest thing in the world if you are supposedly a maximalist, but caring so much about that dollar value.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the Fed backstop facility that has so far allowed them to prop up banks when that historical margin gets tested, right? And when they have to sell a lot of collateral, they've been selling it to that facility at the what they call the real value, even though we know that that's not the real value. The nominal value is what they call the discounted price, and the real value is what they call the price at maturity. It's a huge verbal sleight of hand, right? Because really the nominal value is what they're buying it at, because it's an inflated value, and the real value is what they can get on the free market for that same those same assets. But they flipped the terms, right? So they say we're going to buy it at real value, and their real value is what those assets to be priced at maturity, and we're going to write it as if we're holding nominal value on our books. So they're going to say we're going to buy this at the price as if it were 5 years from now when these assets are mature. We're going to call that the real value, and then we're going to say that we hold the nominal value on our books, so we can keep the balance sheet dropping, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
They are playing a game that suggests that what they're doing is already manipulating the price of the bond market. That facility stops buying assets in March. That's as long as it's authorized. So what's going to happen in March is what I'm interested in.
What stops it? Is it something has to be passed, or what? Why is it
They
stopping?
would have to extend that facility past when they authorized it for.
Okay.
This would simply be an act of the Fed governors.
Okay.
They can do that, right? But if they do that, then they shift a lot of assumptions that people who are investing in actual banking stocks are basing their decisions on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they would shift the value of the bank's actual equity by making that call. So it will be a trade-off, and it will probably cause the bank stocks to increase in value dramatically if they extend that facility. And if they extend that facility by surprise, it will cause the banks to suddenly appreciate in value in ways that the markets haven't priced in.
Man.
So the question is, what does that do to the value of crypto? If the bank stocks rise, what does crypto do? Historically, I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at those patterns. Maybe somebody else can shed some light onto that. But
I'd assume that bank prices rise, or bank issues rise, crypto is going to fall, and vice versa. If bank issues fall, that crypto will also fall.
One might presume. I think that's a fair presumption.
You never know, and it should be the opposite, frankly, but or at least mostly the opposite. Certain networks, certain tokens should probably follow closely the dollar, just because they do, right? Especially stable coins, they should follow the dollar. They don't always follow the dollar, but they should, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all crazy. I've seen a lot of people talking about the bonds market and about various things on deals with banks and near to failures and or quiet failures or other stuff. So there's a lot
if it causes a rise in crypto prices, that would be a signal for any other federal or state entities holding crypto to dump more, right? Essentially increasing, like, it would help them capture more liquidity to keep the banking system afloat.
For a little while.
If the price goes up and they can dump at that point, it will also continue to allow them to help suppress the price, because they start dumping, the price of crypto goes down.
Yep. And 6x6 Tortuga Expeditions, SMTV, LMTV Adventures. I agree with the institutional money coming in and the ETF, I think, is a definite bad thing for crypto. And it's just because we're going to be joined at the hip with
and they're probably buying short positions.
Yeah, and they're if anything, it's going to stabilize it. In the best case, it's going to stabilize it, which okay, but they're in their mind, it's going to keep all of the normal people, non-bankers, out of the crypto world, because Bitcoin, you can't really make any money there anymore, right?
Yeah. I suspect what they'll do is they'll reauthorize the facilities so they can keep the dry powder that they have in storage and save it for a time when they need to stave off other forces that are driving the price up.
Yep. Okay. Next question. I am. Bitcoin checkmate premise. To manipulate cryptos, you must first manipulate and control Bitcoin. Show me the incentives and I will show you the outcome. Bitcoin having first mover advantage and market dominance seems to determine the price movements of all cryptos. In 16 and 17, a huge uptick in adoption was happening. Many large companies were beginning to announce they would accept Bitcoin as a payment. You remember those days? That was great. The U.S. government and others started to see Bitcoin was a threat. This was true when grandmas started talking to taxi drivers about Bitcoin. This is when the intelligence agencies and banking industry decided to step in, because they were listening to all those conversations because there was a phone in that cab.
Right.
So cripple Bitcoin with the BTC BCH fork and prevent it from becoming a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. CIA involvement, and under Obama. I could give you so many reasons that I'm almost certain that that is true. With the actors involved and some of the things that happened back then when that fork happened, it was mind-blowing to me as an engineer what happened. Totally the wrong thing. Number 2, allow Bitcoin to be traded on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in order to tame the price, manipulate, and control price discovery. This was under Trump. With these 2 steps, they've controlled the crypto markets. I do believe that's probably true. Then 3, prevent the industry from flourishing through unclear and predative regulations and investigations and lawsuits. Dragon Chain, Ripple, Library,
Veritasium,
countless, right?
Yeah.
And then 4, finally, intelligence agencies, banking industry, and governments tell social media and mainstream news the evils of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a scam. Scammers abound. Wild West, used for drugs, used for extortion. At Disney,
Right.
One of the very high up people asked me, but when we were trying to get a Bitcoin node running for our interoperability tests, I guess brought up, but I've heard that it was used for beheadings and terrorism and stuff. And anyway, let's see here.
Because
Government propaganda is unleashed on the crypto industry. CIA is given green light to directly or indirectly fund scammers to undermine the crypto industry. Guarantee this that I've said this to people, and I had some surprising reactions to some people in-house Dragon Chain, where when we still had our office, at one point in one of the big meetings, I said, well, because we were talking about security, and somebody was trying to run some scam or something, and that came in, and it was brought up to the team, watch out for stuff like this. And I said, on top of that, you have to understand that I guarantee to you that at least a few, if not several people that have worked here are with some national intel agency, not necessarily US, US and others. Guarantee you. And so I don't know how they work. Do they get paid both salaries? Because if we're paying them, do they also get paid by whatever agency they're working for?
I have no
doubt. They just get double pay. It's like, man, what a gig.
They would probably get double pay.
I wouldn't
because
know
they would
how
have
that
to
works.
they would have to take your pay.
And would it not be fraud? And maybe it should be something that on when you sign up someone for a contract that they have to declare. It's like, look, it's open. You have to declare though, and if they don't declare,
well, remember they have immunity when they work for those 3-letter agencies. Then they are automatically have all that immunity.
Well, they also have to appear like normal employees to you guys, right? Like the way that a company that hires has insight into how someone or whether someone pays their taxes or not. They had to look for all intents and purposes, including to third parties who did not they don't disclose to the IRS who an undercover CIA operative is or whatever.
Maybe that's why Menendez was being paid in gold bars and stuff.
Yeah. Several politicians, right? Man, so checkmate. While governments cannot control the mining or transactions of Bitcoin, and there might even be a chance they can, by the way, I'm telling you, and choose not to until another nation state picks it up or puts it in their treasury. China, Russia, Israel, or US. I don't know who.
Right. Well, that's why they freaked out about El Salvador, right? And the IMF went after them.
Yeah, and so
that was a vector.
But I think it was small enough. You imagine if Russia did it before the Ukraine war, what waves that would have caused. That would have been probably the trigger if it exists. So what we thought was true and what we know now to be lies now applies to almost everything. We the people are being red pilled every day. Question. So it's a great intro. And I am put some time into this. Will enough people eventually be red pilled to create a true sound money crypto that doesn't require a third party and doesn't have any government involvement? When will enough be enough? My take, if this premise is true, only a collapse and rebuild thank you, would bring forth sound money, in my humble opinion. So, Greg, this time first.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that there's probably a tipping point that they are worried about seeing achieved before they have been able to manipulate things for long enough to bring out a central bank digital currency or adopt one of the stable coins as a central bank digital currency, as is currently the theory about how they're going to bring that about, right? It could be USDC, it could be USDT. I personally think USDC is the best candidate because it's already embedded within, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed that the price of USDC when it breaks peg causes a similar breaking of peg in DAI.
Wow.
The way that works out is, as it turns out, USDC is one of the big multi-collateral assets that they included in the DAI DAI project. Like, that is one of their biggest pieces of collateral that is used to secure peg in DAI.
How convenient, because
Right.
Coinbase is in a lawsuit with SEC right now, so they could be writing the new laws.
They could be
in that
and
law.
They probably are
with their agreements.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Instead of it being written by the.
You've said this before, Lisa. That
Yeah.
they're setting that up for that reason. So, what do you think?
It's just very curious, So I mean, I agree with everything Greg said, and I think I am for AM's right on, and I think this is part of the plan. I think we the people can decide for ourselves to choose freedom when we see that we're being led down that gate, that chute. So hopefully we will choose something else. Hopefully we will foil their plans or choose freedom. But I was listening to the finance hearing this morning, and I mean, they think we're stupid. They think we're less than. They talk about us like we're cattle. And it's incredible what they think, that we don't understand what's going on. Oh, but your purchasing power is more. No, that's called inflation. That's not, my purchasing power is not more, and but I think that is the plan, that they're scared to death of AI. I think they already have planned a failure, and they're going to blame it on AI. They're going to blame it on Russia, China, whatever. And then, like Greg said, that'll be the reason to bring in the CBDC. Don't worry, we're from the government. We're here to help. Just give us all your everything, your permission, your
right. Oh, they're going to tout. They're going to tout the fact that the Fed is adopting an existing stable coin as their approach.
You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
We're about freedom.
Everybody sign up for Coinbase. Now, remember last year, that you could file your taxes through Coinbase or something and get some discount, or there was some connection with signing up with Coinbase for your taxes and getting some kickback or some discount or something. I can't remember what that was.
Yeah.
So it'll be some, benefit, and maybe it ties in with this thing in March, that's right around filing time. I say we all have a big tea party and tell them they broke their contract with us into pound sand.
But
I'm
going to throw this up here in context. So Paul Gruel.eth, I'm often asked why Coinbase jumps into so many crypto cases as amicus or otherwise when it isn't directly implicated. It's tempting to focus on our own problems and let others fend for themselves, but we don't do that. So I gave a talk recently to outline our thinking, and the meme, to full credit, this meme is brilliant, because with great power comes great responsibility. Doesn't usually apply in Wall Street with money, though. Great money does bring great power, but usually does not come with any responsibility. And I posted Dragon Chain could use your help, and we've gotten really good response on it, right? So,
awesome.
Right. Yeah. And it's like my DMs are open. Dragon Chain's DMs are open, I do believe. They could contact us at any point. They've contacted us in the past. for various reasons, and we've always given them information about the project, always within our guidelines of what we do. It's like we can't pay for a listing, we can't solicit a listing, but I can tell you anything you want to know about the project or how it works or how to use it or anything else, right? So
this is also, I think, in part, they're worried about whistleblowers right now, because you see the fact that Julian Assange is still being the case is having the can kicked down the road indefinitely. As long as they can delay, they're going to delay. But if he gets out, if they don't try to extradite him to the United States, they drop it, and he starts working actively towards transparency again. I can guarantee you there are leakers who would blow the whistle on this operation, and the whole house of cards would come tumbling. So,
well, I mean,
if you're watching this and you're somebody who could expose the situation, who could tell the truth,
go follow Boring Sleuth on Twitter. It's very interesting.
Tons of good info from Boring Sleuth on Twitter. Very, very good info. Stuff that like how does
on chain information,
all provable. Everything I've seen from that account is amazing. And speaking of Assange, isn't it odd that you have multiple candidates? You have candidates that aren't Biden or Trump. Let's say, if any candidate, and it's like, okay, are you going to support a candidate? It's like, well, I'll support the first candidate that, of one of many other things, says as soon as I'm in office, day one, that I'm going to give sanctuary to Assange. Pardon, sanctuary, whatever else, right? That's what should be done. And I was like, why has Trump not said that? Why didn't he pardon him and give him sanctuary when he was in office for 4 freaking years?
I still think he did.
Well, especially because he benefited pretty substantially from WikiLeaks and the things that they exposed. Right?
He was probably threatened or whatever else. But,
I would be willing to bet that his life probably depends on not helping Julian.
There is such a massive amount of disinformation. You're right. It's like you can't discount the fact that the possibility that we don't actually know the truth.
That we don't know what's really going on.
No.
The other thing, I mean, I can't wait to get to our current events. I want to talk about the Tucker interview with Putin.
Yes,
but there's also a possibility there's somebody else in Moscow right now. Wouldn't it be interesting if Tucker happened to visit Snowden while he's there too?
Why?
Yeah, that would be.
Oh my God,
that would be a hell of a fucking interview.
Yeah, that would be great.
And you guys will notice that Snowden has been quiet.
He has very recently. Right? I guess I don't know. Last post I saw was probably last month from him. So anyway,
he very rarely speaks these days, and when he does, it's cryptic. He's pointing in, he's sort of winking and nodding in the direction of something that he's not saying.
Yep. Okay, that is all of the questions. So now we can go.
Thank you guys for your questions. Those were great.
Those were awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, that last question, I think it hits it spot on. I think that really is what's been going on. And so many of those things, I have direct evidence from what I've seen, through time inside a Dragon Chain while I was at Disney. Several of these things hit that there, sure, there might be other explanations, but these tend to be much simpler and more obvious than what explanations you might be given otherwise, right? Especially when you go back and look at the forking that happened with Bitcoin. I mean, it was obvious that was because it was a threat to somebody or something. So anyway, all right. So it is now memes and current events. So first off, we want, if possible, to essentially
send you a meme.
What are the subjects we want to cover? We want definitely the interview.
Yeah, right? The interview. Also, I wanted to bring up or announce Reggie was approved another patent.
Nice.
And Coinbase was denied a second bite at the apple for the IPR. That happened just before That happened in January.
Congratulations.
And then February 6th, yeah, Reggie got another patent. So it's pretty exciting. We're going to be doing an interview with Jonathan Olson on the
Who's
Very Dow
brilliant.
channel next week.
That dude is brilliant. He wrote
is.
he with me and others. He wrote all of our patents. I mean, he's the patent attorney.
Yes, thanks
he's
for the
amazing.
introduction.
Thus, he was batting 1,000. Speaking of somebody batting 1,000, and we need to figure out. I'll have to ask Amanda, or if somebody can independently look at the proposals page while we're live and tell us who actually proposed this show topic. Anyway, whatever. So we're going to get started with the memes. What else? So we went to the patent. Okay. So what else? The interview.
Coinbase lost their second bite at the Apple and IPR. I want everyone to know that.
Okay. All right. I don't know what it means.
The interview, this week, New York Community Bank got cut to junk and most likely will fail. There's some other banks that are right behind them. Also, Jim Willie texted me this morning and said that Russia is okay. I told him that Chris was buying banned US dollar transactions, but then he said Russia banks are reportedly swapping gold for US dollars, which I'm like, why would they be doing that? And he's like, well, because the entire community of nations has debt obligations and the majority are in US dollars. But I thought that they were like basically forgiven that debt when we kicked them out of the SWIFT system. Because how do you expect somebody to pay you back when you kick them out of a system that they can pay you back?
Well, you just expect them to pay you back, right? Like that you stick them in a catch-22.
Yeah,
and that's a big part. That's a big part of how our system of deplatforming from financial systems works, right? Is we throw them out of the means of payment and nonetheless hold them accountable for the payments themselves still.
I mean, that's
the
like
fact that you can't use it to make
I have
payments
to call you to be released of my debt, but then you block me. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's how you make sure that they are persona non grata even after the bans from the SWIFT system, hypothetically resolve, right? Because they still imagine, or at least have to imagine, that these sanctions, ultimately result in a change of behavior, right? And if they do in fact result in a change of behavior, then they have to allow them back in. But the punishment remains in terms of you owe all these debts in arrears. Like if you come back in, you're still on the wrong side of it. So the longer you wait to conform, the worse off you are. It's a gigantic manipulation game.
Well, this doesn't seem logical to me, but
then you have to accept refinancing terms, right? That they find favorable, that stick you back in the bottom where you belong.
Yeah. How many banks will fail this year? What do you guys think?
At least
all of them.
Half of them.
Yeah.
Do you think half of them? Wow.
Well, Janet Yellen said this morning that she said that only the banks, and gosh, I wish I could remember the number, they had to have like hundreds of billions of dollars of assets to be covered by the whatever insurance protection. She said all the other banks will not be protected.
What's that called? Is that new?
Oh God,
it's a name of a. It's a town, right? Dang it! I'm sorry.
They were talking about it this morning.
Are you talking about Jackson Hole?
No. It's some banking regulation thing that just went in that has to do with requirements for reserves. What is it? Basel. Basel something.
The Basel III, or is it 4 now? I think there were 3.
3 is what they're doing now, but then there's something else with the not just the FDIC, but they were using some other term. Oh, I can't
Yep.
remember what it was.
Basel
Anyway,
4 will be when they close
yeah,
the noose, right? Basel 3 is how they get people to put their heads in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sorry, these memes so far are not topical. They're just, I'm trying to filter them for anything that is too offensive.
I like that one.
But there's stuff. So okay, you want to talk about the interview first?
Sure.
So
I haven't kept up on this one, so you guys are going to have to fill me in.
So tonight,
at
I thought
6 Eastern.
I don't know what time because my
6
husband
o'clock
and I have
Eastern.
2 different times.
6 o'clock Eastern.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
My husband said that he went to tucker.com and it said 5 Eastern this morning. And I'm like, I don't think so. But maybe I should look real quick.
And I said they're not topical. They aren't necessarily not topical.
I think they're easily readable as topical.
Yes. Yes, you can interpret these. So yeah, I mean, essentially what he went there a few months back, or he was intending to interview Putin a few months back, and he announced on his show, and I you'd have to refresh my memory if this was after he was already out of Fox or not, but that essentially he was contacted and he's like, hey, this was something that he didn't talk to anyone except for his show people. They didn't talk to anybody else. And they knew, therefore, that their phones were tapped and they were being listened to, or their text messages or whatever else. And so he announced that. He should have announced this, like, as just like you, my phone is totally owned by the powers that be. But essentially, they kept him from interviewing Putin, which was a kind of a crazy thing. And it's like, well, why? Why would the state care about a journalist interviewing some world leader, right? So it didn't happen, which, I was disappointed because, like, I would like to see details of what would happen with that interview, right? So now he went back over there. He didn't, apparently they were prompted again to not do this, but he did it anyway. So now, and this follows the Joe axiom that anything that is censored is most likely true, or the alternative, that the more censored something is, the more likely it is true. And that apparently the EU was talking about disallowing him to travel in Europe after this.
They even drug one of the Hillarys out to speak against it. And no one's seen the interview yet. We don't even know what's in the interview yet.
Everyone's calling him a traitor on MSNBC and CNN, and it's bizarre. I mean,
right, because information is ostensibly in our system supposed to be free, right?
Yep.
The idea that hearing what this guy has to say is somehow some kind of threat to national security is a joke, right? Because hearing what someone has to say ought to be just the right of a free people. This should be an example of Western civilization being strong, not being weakened.
Yep. It should be. It should be. And in fact, what do you guys think will be discussed? I mean, I'm a little bit, I'm not putting a lot of hope that they're going to get into some of the crazier stuff, like the biolabs in the Ukraine.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they'll say why they're really, why he's really in this conflict and what the truth is about the conflict. And people will be like shocked. Wait a minute. What are we really supporting? Oh, we're supporting biolabs and,
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Right. It sounds so familiar. I wonder why. Yeah. And maybe they will. I really do hope that they do get into that type of discussion. Also into, I'm sure, I can almost guarantee that something is known about, where all of those hundreds of billions have actually gone, right? That there's almost certainly a lot that is graft, right? So you just have to, wonder, are they gonna be talking about that? Because that would be that would be pretty interesting, especially for taxpayers or for people here in the U.S. that
Especially when you see the
questions.
bomb scenes where the cars are flipped and all this destruction, but the windows are perfectly intact behind in the buildings behind.
Yep.
And they have the little, the actors running up with their babushka on and their little loaves of bread, pretending to be, war-torn survivors or whatever. Like, if he exposes how much of a movie it is over there, or that we are seeing, that might piss off some Americans as well.
I'm interested in what they have to say, or what he has to say about the pipeline. Because we still have Hirsch reported on the pipeline being an inside job, right? Like we've already known for a while that's what it was. If we are paying attention to sources that are adversarial, the ones that are really trustworthy, we already have a pretty good idea that that's what it is. But we don't have primary source confirmation, and that's what I'm waiting for, is primary source confirmation on a lot of these issues. If you have literally Putin saying it, and you can look in his face and you can evaluate how honest he appears to be being, then you have. Those clips are going to be direct quotables that you can use in online debate. It's going to shape public opinion. It will.
Yeah. Speaking of this meme, real quick here, I have no idea if this is true. I saved this because it was so interesting. Fun fact: the gun used in the state LaBianca murders, related to the Mansons, previously belonged to Ronald Reagan. It fired bullets, but it was a stage gun. That's why they stabbed. Is that even possible that that's true? But there's so much crazy stuff. And by the way, when we were doing all that work for open source money, they brought in directors, and they brought in some pretty amazing cinematography guys, and there's one guy that's at least relatively famous in that area. He even has something on Amazon, and he's hilarious. This Italian dude is just a hilarious guy. And he told me specifically, he's like, yeah, anything you hear, the craziest stuff that you hear about Hollywood, all true. It's like, about if you just assume it's all true, you're going to be right 99% of the time.
And I think it's a good test of one's grip on reality to be able to be faced with something that sounds absurd and be able to consider it objectively, right? If the evidence is presented that's true, then roll with it. But if the evidence doesn't add up, then do not. But
it is the whole Occam's razor thing. I mean, it is definitely you have to check how crazy or how many things are required for this to be true versus something very simple that explains it. But when you look at the stuff, in most cases in international war, it's almost always the simplest thing is, there's a kickback. I mean, somebody's making a ton of money, or it's going to one of the big military industrial complex companies. And I used to work for Lockheed. I know how some of that works, right? It's just crazy. It's
crazy. The key is the argument from incredulity is an informal logical fallacy, right? Like just because something sounds absurd is not a reason to disbelieve it. That in and of itself is not it's not contradictory evidence. That is just a thing that makes it less likely that you will hear something that you believe, right? So never fall for the incredulity fallacy. Just because it's an assertion that boggles your mind so much it sounds absurd, right? That should not be a reason to disregard it.
Yeah, and the second part is if it's being censored versus that nobody cares if this stuff is being posted. That's another big thing, because anything censored is most likely true. So
that's one of the quotes that they did release or are talking about, that Putin said that Joe is not running the company, the company, the country, that the same people that have always been running the country are running the country. And he alludes to, like, the deep state, whatever. So if he were to like expose some of that, get into that discussion more, that would be really great. And there was a really weird, and I don't know if you guys watch Netflix or maybe it was on YouTube. I don't know. There's like at the top, they put like ads or something. And there's one with Tina Fey right now. And it's booking.com. And she's like, I can book as many Tina Feys as I need to be wherever I need to be. And she's in all these different masks. Like there's a Tina Fey, and it's really Glenn Close playing Tina Fey going to Texas. Then there's like a Sasquatch Tina Fey playing, being like somewhere else. Then there's another Tina Fey in Hollywood. There's another Tina Fey somewhere else. And then I don't know. It's like they're trying to start leaking out the mask thing. I don't know. It's very weird. Like it doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with booking.com.
So here's some very topical ones coming. No, that's strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't trust
very weird.
I don't trust any of them.
One of my favorite new things that I've read people are doing with the Apple Vision Pro is running nodes on it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Apparently it's got the horsepower to handle it.
That's
which
cool.
Isn't surprising, right? Like Apple's got their M series chips laced throughout the machine. Like it's got an M2 chip in it. So, and that's the same chipset that goes into their not their Pros now, but their standard Macs. So
really,
yeah.
I will say that
if you can run it on a Mac Mini, you can run it on a Vision Pro.
That's interesting. I will tell you that I have mined Bitcoin on a Mac before. It was a MacBook Pro, I think. I don't remember, but it was CPU.
Was it post M series?
I don't remember. I used to have Macs. I swore them off. I don't have Macs anymore. So.
If it was post M series, then they would be able to run the GPU capability of those chips.
Yeah, this was still CPU. This was early days. Yeah, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would do all those. I also have sent Bitcoin with no fees. I purposely sent a little bit of Bitcoin without putting a fee in, just to see how it worked, and it still went through.
A rack of Mac Minis, man, can make a hell of a mining rig.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep,
that's cool. Let's see here. I think I'm getting into some of the what do you call this Apple product? And by the way, I remember when they first announced it, but then I forgot about it, and then this stuff I started seeing memes, and I'm like, oh, did that come out? Or I started seeing videos.
Man, I want one of those like hardcore.
I watched a commercial for it. It was pretty wild. I mean, it's not attractive.
I mean, it is AR, right? So you are seeing video.
Well, it's sort of it's sort of VR AR, right?
Yeah,
it's a little different from AR because it's not actually see-through, right? The fact that your eyes appear through it is because they put a screen on the front to reproject your eyes.
Well, they say you can actually see through it.
Right, you can see through it with cameras.
And they said it is still a tiny delay from what I saw. It's still not perfect, right?
Oh, then their commercial's misleading then, because they say that you can see.
You can see what the cameras see in front of you, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, and it's apparently high enough fidelity that you can like cook with it. Not color wise perfect enough if you're trying to like make a perfect roux, like I wouldn't cook with it on if you're trying to make something where like the color fidelity matters a whole lot. But from what I've seen, people can one of the coolest ones I've heard of is people set timers over individual pots and just sort of orbit them there. So that they can go into another room and come back and see like what the timing is on each of the individual pieces they're cooking. So, pretty neat.
I see. That's funny. Yeah, I've heard about people like posting stuff all throughout their house or something. I don't know. I could see it being interesting, but I think it would be kind of in the way You know what I mean? I probably would
I will
use
be
something like that.
personally using one because I want to get into the metaverse more directly.
That's cool.
But it's going to be a while before I pick one up. I'll probably wait for Generation 2.
Yeah, how much are they?
They are close to $3,000. So you'd be spending what you would spend
God.
on a high-end MacBook Pro, but not like top-end MacBook Pro,
Yes.
because you can spend up to $7,000 on one of those.
Wow.
Man, that's too much, you know.
Yeah.
It's definitely not mass market yet, I would say.
Especially if Steve Jobs isn't there to make sure that, anyway, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That-
Without Jobs around, you can't be 100%.
These are really
sure that it's
cool.
not
I'm going to bring up
actively
one here.
erasing
This might
reality
be.
from your
I
from
like
your
this
field of view.
meme.
Oh yeah, this is somebody posted they were testing the difference between 3 of the AI rendering engines, and I was like, oh, they're it's supposed to be a dragon
Really cool.
and with a fire around it in a forest or something. I was like,
Oh, I like
it
it.
looked amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Also here, this is a very controversial one, but and I don't know who Rick Wiles is, so I have no idea. But Congressman Brian Mast wearing a military uniform for a foreign power in Congress as a congressperson. Do you think that is good or bad? Should be allowed or not? So on, so on. I have some pretty strong feelings. I don't care what country. I don't care if you are from the Netherlands or from Italy, countries that I love, right? I don't care if you're from
You can wear your pajamas
China.
on the floor now, right?
I don't
Can't
think
you?
that you should, if you have dual citizenship, or if you cannot renounce any loyalties to other foreign nations, should you be allowed any position in
No.
power anywhere in government? Regulatory, appointed, elected,
I
nothing.
agree.
It should be impossible. This should be
Right.
considered
The disclosure
treason.
paradigm has obviously been abused.
And the quote that they got from him is that babies killed in Gaza are not innocent. So
What?
anyway, yeah. So yeah,
Right,
the great guy there.
Because the idea
I don't know
is
where
that,
he's. I don't know who he represents, but they themselves should
Satan.
be ashamed of him or run him out of office.
right. Well, I mean, and the argument that they make is that all of an enemy population are enemy combatants.
Yeah.
Right down to the babies.
Yes, it's crazy.
This
It's
sounds
crazy.
like justifying.
Well, I've
genocide,
seen
right?
I've seen videos. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't get too far into this, but I've seen videos of them shooting horses, shooting goats, or maybe it's sheep or goats that they
Well, what do they
shot.
do when they what do they
horses.
do when the SWAT team raids your house? Right, the first thing they do is take out your pets.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a meme from a story that was on 4chan that was
Oh my God.
never, but supposedly it's an super interesting lore story that happens, almost certainly fake, but that some giant was encountered by U.S. troops in Afghanistan in a cave. And so somebody had made this, and I don't even know if this is AI generated or if it was painted, but because it was pretty old. The story was a while ago, right? Anyway, interesting.
Well, there's historic mythological examples of this taking place throughout human history. Surely there has to be some core of truth to myth typically has a core of truth to it, right? Every legend has its seed of fact. And you can imagine a larger than life human who wasn't even necessarily a giant being remembered that way, and then through a couple iterations of telling, have it become exaggerated.
Yeah. Here's another one that came up out of nowhere, and there's so much going on. I've never even talked to anyone about this. Testifying in front of Congress about online child safety, TikTok CEO was asked if he was ever a member of the Chinese Communist Party, and I would have assumed that he was. I didn't know anything about TikTok, at least its management, corporate, whatever. And he's Singaporean. And Singaporean. I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's interesting, isn't it? Everybody's assumed is like, no, TikTok is Chinese and it's supposed to be it's against us. And I'm like, I've seen more stuff come out on TikTok that Twitter won't even allow now. As a free,
I know.
Open, it's like, give me a break. Free speech.
Yeah, our channel on TikTok, Rivet's channel on TikTok, at least before we stopped stopped doing it because we had to stop doing a lot of marketing to save costs during the downturn. We had something like 46,000 followers that we built up over the course of just a month.
That's great. Wow.
Right. And we were saying stuff. We were saying stuff that was like pretty in your face about how the establishment was screwing people.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So was that a psyop in itself? Tell you it's
Yeah, I think so.
has
But see,
Chinese backdoors and all that.
Trump was directly involved in that because
keep you
his
away from it.
administration made it clear they were going to ban it because it was Chinese propaganda, and like, I fell for that.
The it's Chinese psyop is just about as bad as the it's Russian psyop.
Or is that guy lying?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Highly
possible, but I kind of, I don't know. That's the funniest thing, and I think this is quite a few people would probably follow this. And I apologize in advance for saying this, but I am more likely to trust Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin than nearly anyone in the entire U.S. federal government. I'd be more likely that they would be telling me the truth than someone in my own government.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Putin's been saying for years, for instance, that all the culture war stuff was designed to destroy the West. Yeah, that it was an act of self-destruction.
He's also mentioned pedophile elite and all the. I mean, he knows what Epstein did. He knows who Epstein worked for. He knows how they own the U.S. government.
I wouldn't doubt if Epstein was trying to rope him in at some point.
Oh, totally. I almost guarantee, right? He would have been a great target.
Yeah, billions of dollars, then your targets are all over the globe, not just the United States, right? Like if you're a billionaire, you're bringing people in from Russia too.
Yep. So it's pretty sad, really. But,
Did you guys see any of the interviews with where they were interviewing the people on the streets of Moscow and saying, what do you think about Tucker coming over here? And they were like, oh, well, I hear he's been kicked off every, U.S. News station. And so we welcome him here. And we think he's intelligent. And we think they were like really, really
and what it comes down to, right? Like, I'm totally with you there. What it comes down to me is the people of the United States are not at war with anybody right now, right? The people of the United States are not at war with the people of Iran. The people of the United States are not at war with Palestine. The people of the United States are not at war with anybody. We are right now out of control of our leaders. Our leaders have control of the military. That doesn't mean what the military does is our will. In fact, it means quite the opposite.
It means we have a tyrannical government.
Yeah. So the fact that someone's breaking through that and communicating directly with the Russian people by showing up helps reveal that. I think that's probably the only reason they haven't launched nukes at us already is because they know that we're innocents in all this.
Wow. Yeah. Very true.
Some people think nukes don't exist. What do you guys think of that?
I think that's
another one of the. I think another one of the well poisoning things, right?
That's wishful thinking. Yeah, I could wish cast a lot of things, man. It would be really, really great if nukes didn't exist. I would love that, but I'm also not gonna wish cast and try to transpose that.
Yes.
Yeah, my dad is a atomic veteran, so I have to disagree with that one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure also that the one thing we can do to verify that, you guys know that if they hadn't done all the nuclear tests when they were doing them, that there would have been no way to do radiographic dating, like carbon dating when you hear about that, would not exist as a technology if it were not for early nuclear tests.
You need to see this.
It wouldn't be possible to do carbon dating.
Let me see here. I'm going to find this. Keep talking. I'm going to find this.
That's
so
what they say.
The fact that we can do carbon dating and the fact that works is a testament to the fact that we tested nuclear weapons.
So that information is in Trump's last NDAA is to support the atomic veterans. My dad didn't live long enough, but he was part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can also go on YouTube and you can watch some horrendous gut-wrenching interviews with people who were
Oh yeah.
subjected to up-close tests.
Mhm.
This
where
one.
they talk about covering their eyes and ducking away, and nonetheless being able to see their own bones through through their arms. They could just see it,
and eyelids,
with their
probably.
closed eyes. Yeah, through their closed eyes.
Wow.
This terrifying.
I saw this meme a couple of years ago, and levels of xenon isotopes in the Martian atmosphere are consistent with the aftermath of nuclear bombardment. And it's so strange. You look this up, and it's all true, and it's something NASA found, and it doesn't make any sense except that something happened there. Anyway, and I'm not a nuclear scientist, so I I'm maybe not the person to ask this, but read
it could
about
also
it.
be a side effect of if the electronic or the electric universe people are right.
Yeah, there could be various reasons, but it's interesting though, because it follows suit with what happened on Earth after all the tests started happening, right? So anyway,
you imagine that if we make it to Mars and get a sustainable city up and running, that if Earth destroys itself, that eventually we'll forget about Earth being inhabited by life.
Yeah, this is another one, and this is just this is somebody on Twitter, right? Deep State is escalating against all of their enemies at once, from Asia to the Middle East and Europe, but perhaps most stupidly against their own domestic enemies, Texas and Trump, all at once, with a vegetable at the helm. It's not really at the helm, but that is so, I don't know, so interesting. Yes. So fitting.
So have you guys heard anything about the rivers in the sky kind of stuff? So there's a data point in Cliff's WebBot reports about rivers in the sky. And right now there's all that mudslides and all that in California. And one of my friends sent me this thing where they found the patent for the 3D graphene oxide nanoparticles for cloud seeding patents.
Okay.
Supposed to be some like quakes or something following all this. I don't know. We'll see. But
there are rivers of air, right, that flow through the upper atmosphere. So we know that's true. We don't really know full well their moisture content. You might call them proper rivers. I don't see anything completely illogical about that notion.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just all happening at once. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff out there in the world. Gosh, I don't know. Do we have what else? I don't know. Watch the interview tonight. We should talk about that. Maybe we have a special on that, right?
Is there an update on the border? Is that going to happen at the same time as like the Tucker thing? Oh, Trump, the Supreme Court agreed to hear Trump's election fraud case this Friday. So Tucker is tonight, and then tomorrow. And the so I read this article that said they can do these two things. One of them is, oh, Greg, you're the perfect person to talk about this with. One of them is they could have refused to do the hearing at all. The other thing they can do is do what is called a something affirmation. Oh, I already send it to you guys. What's the word called? Something affirmation.
Are you looking for pure curium?
Summary affirmance.
Yeah, they could do that. Yeah.
And they could just make a decision outright without even having a hearing or hearing anything.
Is this the ballot issue or the election fraud issue?
The election fraud.
Okay.
Yeah, if they issued a per curiam opinion, which is basically like a court opinion where the court doesn't identify the primary author of the opinion, they might outright affirm it. But that seems unlikely. I think they'll probably hear it.
It's very rare to do it, but it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
I'll
That would
send
be
it to
only
you
in a
guys
case
and-
where we're so obvious that they didn't need oral argument to reach a conclusion. It also would mean that there was no strategic advantage in holding off on announcing the opinion.
right, which is what they've been doing to delay.
I think that's why they will probably hear it, is because there will be perceived issues of timing surrounding the release of any ruling. So they'll probably hear it through the traditional path and then hold the release of their opinion.
There's rumors in the truther community that they might do the summary affirmance and then call martial law and unseat Biden and call in martial law.
I find that highly unlikely.
I know, but there's hope.
Yeah.
Let me have my moment of hope and coffee this morning.
We will see. I don't know, something. They're going to have something to distract from both.
We still
this
have to
interview
have the banks
and then
fail first.
the election next November.
Assuming we have it.
Yeah, assuming it's all still there. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm gonna set aside time for the interview. Watch it with the family.
The question is, will they turn off
says.
the military grade information weapons in far enough in advance that we'll have a fair election?
Oh, by the way, anybody who's listening, good thing to do is download all of Gutenberg, put it on some thumb drives or one thumb drive, and put it in a box with some metallic surround, Faraday cage.
Yeah, you want some Faraday mesh around it.
Yeah, you can make
How
one.
would you download all of Gutenberg? Like,
everybody wouldn't be able to, but if it happened in massive parallel, people could have different fragments of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have the whole thing. So it just there are two main ways. There's one where you can just download all the text, and then there's another one where you can download all of it. And of course, the one that's all of it.
The other important thing to do is to download and save from Sci-Hub.
From what?
If anybody's familiar, are you guys familiar with sci-hub.se?
No.
So sci-hub.se is the website.
Wait, say it again. So wait, what is it?
I'll put it in my
SCI. I thought you were PSY. Okay, Sci-Hub.
Yeah.
SCI.hub.
It's like this.
Sci-Hub, like science.
Science Hub.
So it's now my. Yep, and that site you may have to use a VPN to access it depending on your ISP. Sometimes excellent. I have to use a VPN to access it. Sometimes it works.
Do they? Okay.
If you get a page loading up that just shows a blank prompt where you can paste in what they call a DOI number. A DOI number is a document object identifier that comes with every single research paper that has ever been published. If you paste that in and hit go, there's like 90% chance that they're going to have your research paper. Downloading and saving important research is another really important thing you can do to preserve civilization.
That's great.
That's something I do every time I see a research paper referenced in an article that is behind a paywall.
It's so funny. Their CAPTCHA too is like, oh, you're from America. Please click on all images containing food, usually served cold. So,
yeah. Huh.
Click off all the hamburgers, the ice creams. As an American, I know these things.
Yeah, I personally like to use NordVPN out of Mexico because Mexico doesn't censor anything on the internet. So if you use a Mexican node of any VPN that lets you select which site, and you select like a Mexico City site, you can access just about any place on the web.
They've detected suspicious network activity from my device.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you need Nord.
What a pile of crap. Come on.
Or something like it.
I want the download link too, because I want to download all of them. Like, they have torrents, it says, so
Yep.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you're going to do the Gutenberg thing, if you're going to try to preserve knowledge for the future, Sci-Hub is one you want to keep in mind as well, because it will give you access to full research papers where you normally couldn't get them.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, we were wanting to, grab other scientific text. There's some on Gutenberg, but a lot of them are not. They're still too new, right? I mean, Gutenberg has all the old stuff, of course, but
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I wanted to
has
see
the
all
new
the
stuff, man. You can
all
get
of
research
the.
papers that were released this month on Sci-Hub.
Speaking of which, there was also I saw on Twitter a post that some challenged a couple of engineers got I think it's 700 grand as a prize because they were able to they essentially had this scroll that was unopenable that was found in the ruins of why am I blanking? I had a headache earlier, so apologies. The from the ashes of Vesuvius, what was the town? In Italy,
Pompeii.
Pompeii. That they pulled the scroll out, and yet it was essentially not open. They couldn't unroll it; it would have destroyed it.
Right.
And so what they did is they scanned it from a top, and then they used AI and software to read it on all of the multiple layers through the entire scroll.
Right.
And so these guys won this big prize. And what was interesting, because it was apparently the scroll was from it was an author from a Greek that I'd never heard of, or don't remember. Not someone famous, one of the famous ones, but this work was not known. It was lost to history, and there are hundreds of those, even from well-known, like Sophocles. There are tons of his plays that are gone. Nobody knows what they were. They have references from other works, and so they said that there are either hundreds or possibly thousands of these scrolls still there that they're going to pull out and use this technique. I'm like, man,
they'll be able to read.
That's crazy.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's awesome.
To me, these are the things that give me hope for the future of humanity. When you see, AI technology being used to recover information from the past.
It's amazing.
This is stuff where either tangential to the mass information war on the public, or completely what's the word I'm looking for? Completely not parallel, but askew to it, aside from it.
Well, and
the word I'm looking for is still escaping me, but like if you see this sort of thing happening, this is stuff where they just haven't decided to clamp down and control yet.
Right? Yes, and I think they probably have some idea that. Oh, in fact, here I'll
orthogonal. That was the word I was looking for. Orthogonal too.
Whoops, it's not that one. It's refreshed. Come on, give me a break. I'm going to take this off real quick till I find it. I want to just show everything I'm looking at. This was the one. This was the scroll that they found. And when you look at the this is the scroll cross section.
Right? Oh wow!
I mean, it's just I don't know, hundreds of layers rolled. Super interesting.
That we can do that.
And I think this is just a hint, by the way, that in the end, AI is probably going to, I think it's going to at least be a piece of what is used by humans to take back control.
Yeah, so, I agree.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
so.
AI is a democratizing technology, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, the training of the networks themselves requires some centralized compute, right? Some heavy-duty centralized compute. But once you have the network weights, it's very cheap to spread.
Yep.
And so this technology can be broadly accessible to everybody at the speed of the internet. And so long as it's not being censored, people can have access to it and come up with new ways to use it. This is one of those ways.
Yep. All right. Do we have anything else? Let's see. Anything in the comments? Let's see here. What happened? What happened to the 3 lawyers from Ogden, Utah, and the Supreme Court?
I'm blanking on their name, but they're the trumpet players, And so I watched an update recently, and the two brothers, two of them had to kind of bow out, but they were just like almost in tears, saying how brave the one brother is because he's single and he doesn't have any children, so he's able to keep going. And they are still pursuing that. I my family wrote letters and did the whole stick $1 in to support and write this letter, and we wrote letters to the Supreme Court asking them to hear the case as well. And so I'm still hopeful. I think that might move
What
forward.
was the case on?
It was for we the people having a voice about the election.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Was it Brunson Brothers? Yeah. See, I watch a video about antiques. That's the Brunson Brothers. So I think it's really close to that. That's
Oh my God.
It's something.
Sean
really
Penn, man.
Sean Penn.
He's
What happened to
been
Sean
warned
Penn?
by time, man.
Lord.
Someone
Dangerously
else
insane human being.
warned by time.
Evil.
Is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff in the world. You are here.
Good.
The King Charles got
Cancer.
prostate cancer, and now his son is resuming royal duties. William.
Is that true?
Interesting.
Is he gonna? So is he gonna abdicate or not? Because that was the thing that they were
Butt
trying to
cancer
make it
is
sound
definitely not too apropos of a punishment for that guy.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that there's been this rash of prostate cancer for some of these
people
men lately.
Yep.
Yeah, it's odd.
Not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Wow.
That's what happens when you get your experimental vaxes. No, not.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
You're whatever from maybe doing things you shouldn't be doing. Anyway.
All right.
Speaking of the dark side.
Yes. Speaking of the dark side, it's all over the place. We need to fix that. But that's probably enough. I'm on to really old memes now, so I'll probably cut that, and because they're not topical at all now. And apparently, Branson or Bronson Brothers. I think that's it. You guys have anything else to add? Greg, what's going on this week?
For what we're working on right now, we're getting ready for ETH Denver. Going to be heading up there for about a week early for some decentralized infrastructure network stuff. So we'll be in the area. If anybody's around for ETH Denver, give me a shout. I will be in the area. So if you want to talk about anything in particular, especially if there's something that you want to have us talk about on the show that you don't feel comfortable putting in text, hit me up and let me know. I'm happy to explore topics that you might be afraid to publicize. So I'm happy to listen.
Nice. Well, I'd like to go. I don't know if I'll be able to though. I know some other people are going, but and there's also a place that I might want to because you're local. I might tell them maybe you could come and speak as well, but I need to talk to you about it first before I tell them that.
Down.
Lisa, what's up?
I've just got my daily show weekdays, 4:00 Central, 5:00. Tonight I will be either going early, probably go early since Trump is going to be, or not Trump, Putin will be on.
Oh no,
with Tucker.
What are you saying?
Yeah, sorry. Putin will be on with Tucker at that time. So actually, 6 Eastern, it would be 5 Central, right?
Yes.
So
Central.
I could do my 4:00 and then jump on and watch Tucker and Putin. That
Do
might
it
work
live.
perfectly.
Just anyway, cue it up live and just anyway.
Yeah.
No, we should consider to do that in the future. For me, I have something to watch. Week before last, I mentioned it last week, I think, and we didn't get time to plan it out. But the interview that I did with Larry Sanger, founder of Wikipedia, worth watching. I was expecting to maybe be 30
Is it
minutes.
posted now?
It's going live at, let's see here, I think it's 2:00 Eastern.
Today.
2:00
Okay.
Eastern
Awesome.
today. Where's it at? I
Cool.
swear I saw it on there. Yes, 2 p.m. Eastern today. It was a really good discussion. We went over, a bunch of things I didn't know about the founding of Wikipedia. I was kind of surprised. I had no idea that that's how it kind of happened. And then what went wrong, and then Encyclosphere and what he's working on now and how it works. And then his philosophy, because he is a philosopher. That was his thing, and that's why they hired him originally when they wanted to create what became Wikipedia. So anyways, it was super interesting. So 2:00, it was supposed to be like a 30-minute thing. It ended up being an hour and a half. It was good. And but there's no frills. There's nothing at the intro or the exit. It's just me saying, hey, and then we start. So I could have done better there, but I
do not tear yourself up on that. Like, I'm sure the content is amazing. Yeah.
The content was awesome. And then other than that,
tell everybody where to find that. That will be on.
It'll be on the Dragon Chain YouTube channel.
So, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it'll be under, or if it's any playlist or anything, but it'll be on the Dragon Chain YouTube channel. It'll be on Twitter. It'll broadcast on Twitter. It'll probably broadcast on LinkedIn as well if you're following Dragon Chain.
Doing Rumble?
I'll share it on Twitter as well.
We're not doing Rumble yet. We need to get Rumble turned on. It's not even here, right?
Yeah.
We need to do that. We just haven't had time. It is on Odyssey, I think.
Cool.
And of course on Den's channels too. So anyway, so that's happening. And also we're getting close on a project at Dragon Chain that is going to be super exciting, I think, to everybody. And we'll let you know more when it rolls out officially and all that. So it'll be fun stuff. Very on the one hand, very technical, but also the thing that is hard to do often is it's also for a layperson who doesn't care about the tech. It's cool and fun and very interesting too. So
I'm looking forward to this one, guys. You are gonna be pumped when you see it. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun.
Yep.
So
Joe, also, if you're headed to, or if you're interested in Teep, and the reason you're not sure if you're going is because you're not sure if you got a place to stay that you can afford to throw down on. I may be looking for someone to co Airbnb with.
Right on.
Once Austin, because Austin has to head back early. So I will be maybe looking for a roommate for an Airbnb. So
that's why I just need to know the range of dates.
Coordinate on that.
It's probably not possible. My schedule's too crazy lately, but still, it would be good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? What do you guys want to hear on the way out? Do you want to hear? Let's see. Do you want to hear McAfee again? Do you want to hear?
Yeah, let's do McAfee. That one.
Love the McAfee one.
Right on.
Yeah.
On, and now I have to find it because I'm not.
That's my favorite.
I'm not paying attention. Me too. That's my favorite one, and it was accidental. That was not scripted.
Oh, I love it.
That just came from him. Come on. Why? Okay, now
I play it on my channel all the time.
I'm ready. Okay, so you guys ready? Right. Thanks a bunch. Make sure you share this show. Make sure you like it. Do all the things you need.
Go to Den.Social and comment on next week's topics. Put your questions in so that you get your lot and credit for everything, and you can ask us questions as well.
Perfect.
The way to get your questions answered.
It is the first.
Face them on the show, man. That's how
it is the World Blockchain Roundtable is the first DAO fundamental show, right? Where the entire show dictated by you. So
and you can be a part of it.
Right on. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.